Alright guys, it's been a little while since I've shared a metal stamping video, so I thought I would have you join me today for the project that I'm working on. This happens to be for my daughter. It's an emergency contact necklace. It is part of our plan for in case she ever gets lost. We're going to be traveling this weekend, but we're just going to be talking basic metal stamping here. So if you've ever thought about doing a metal stamped project, or if you've just bought your supplies and you want to get started, or if you're looking at buying your supplies and want to know how to get started, then this project today will show you how to do that. I've got my steel bench block here, and any size is fine. Mine happens to be 6 by 6. You can go as small as anything that's big enough to hold your blank is perfectly fine. I've got my stamps. I'm using a real skinny font. It's called Lollipop by Impress Art, and I can fit more letters onto a blank, which is important for my project today because I want to make sure I can fit the whole words and names onto my pieces. I've got my stamping hammer. This is a 1-pound brass stamping hammer. I'm using acrylic paint, to darken my letters today. And I've got a little polishing pad. You can use like a regular polishing cloth. And the blanks that I'm using today are pewter. This is also Impress Art. That happens to be the brand that I use most often. These are, they call them their soft strike line, and they're perfect for beginners. So if you haven't stamped before, these are a nice thick metal. It gives you a nice weight to your piece, and they take an impression really easily. So we're just going to jump right in. I've pre-stamped a little bit of this just to save time because you guys don't need to see me hammer the whole thing out. But what I've done here is I've got the little the floral charm here, and I've stamped it with the words emergency contact. And yes, actually it does fit with a lollipop font. It just barely fits on this size, like a 3/4 inch size. And then I'm using a 1 inch square here. Well, it's nearly 1 inch. And what I've put on here is I put my actual contact information on the back. What we're going to say on the front, it says, if I'm lost, my name is Rhea, my daughter's name is Rhea. And then on the back it says, call my mom, Adrienne, and it's got my phone number here. So if she ever, if she does happen to get separated, what I'm going to do is layer these together. Hopefully she can show somebody her necklace, or somebody could take note of that. And we've got all of her emergency contact information, and it's a nice pretty little jewelry piece. So that's what we're doing here today. What we're going to do, I'm using washi tape here. You can use masking tape, any kind of paper tape. There is a specific kind of stamping tape. It's called stamp straight tape. It's going to be even thicker than this. That if you're not an experienced stamper, it's really nice for helping stamp a straight line across. It helps you align your letters vertically. If you're a beginner also, what you may find it helpful to do, pardon my reach here, you may find it helpful to take a pen and mark exactly where you're going to place your letters. Now I stamp all the time, obviously, so I'm actually not going to do that, but what if you want to, you can just measure out like how wide your letters are and mark out exactly where you want to place each one of them. I tend to kind of wing it though, just because I've been doing this for a little while. So, pardon me for turning it my way here. I just want to make sure I get everything straight here. So, I have my if I'm lost. And what I'm going to be stamping here is my name is Rhea. So, the Impress Art stamps, the reason why I like them so well is that they're all marked on the front with what letter it is. As long as that letter's facing towards you, then you know you've got it aligned correctly. If you're using an economy font, any of the cheaper ones, that's totally fine. What you may want to do is just put a little dot on the front of your stamp so that you know that it's facing towards you and you don't accidentally stamp a letter upside down, because that'll ruin a whole piece, of course. So what you want to do is line it up exactly where you want to stamp, and the goal is to just strike it one time. If you have to hit it twice, then you run the risk of doing a double strike. So what you're going to do is make sure it's all aligned, and you want to give it one firm tap with your hammer right on the end. And I've got my nice little M there. Now, my process is to put each letter back as I use it. That way I always know to reach for it. I don't start getting them jumbled up. You don't ever lose them that way. But that's just me personally. My Y. And you'll get a feel after you've been stamping for a little while of exactly how hard you need to hit the different letters and on the different metals. But with these soft strike ones, you don't have to hit it that hard. And you don't have to worry about hitting your hands because it's probably not going to happen. I've been stamping for gosh, almost 4 years now, I've actually never hit my hand, not even when I was a beginner. So it's just not something that you really have to worry too much about. But you just want to position it, tap it, and move on. Now I am using an all uppercase font here. I think that that is a nice, easy way for beginners to start. What you end up with the lowercase letters is some of them they'll hang down lower, like the G or a J or a Y. Those hang down lower than your normal line, and then your letters like anything uppercase, and then maybe D's, B's, those all are taller. So you end up taking up more space when you're using lowercase. But I'm just using an all uppercase, so I know that each letter is going to be the same height. So I've got my name is and now that I've filled out this line, I'm going to peel off my tape and I'm just going to move it down. You want to just basically space it visually. This line is going to be the bottom line of where your letters are going to hit. And the reason why it's helpful is as you go along, you place your letter and you can drag it toward that tape. And as long as you're placing it really gently, you can feel where that tape stops you. So you can feel exactly where that letter needs to go. So I've got her name on here. I've got some extra space here, so just because, especially because she's 4, I'm going to put a couple little hearts on here just to make it fun for her. And what's nice about these, the newer sets, they come with a few basic design stamps. You got hearts, stars, flowers, spirals, smiley faces. Just depends on which set you buy as to which one your extras are going to be. And that's really nice because then when you invest in a stamp set, you don't have to buy the extra design stamps. So that's just a perk that I happen to like about Impress Art. They're not paying me to tell you all this. They're just my favorite. So I have the front of her blank stamped here. And I just want to point out too, if you're going to stamp both sides, you want to make sure that you're choosing a blank that's thick enough to handle it. You want a high gauge, either aluminum or silver, but on the pewter blanks, these can handle stamping double-sided. But what you want to do when you stamp on the first side, when you stamp on the second side, it's going to flatten that out a little bit. So I always stamp the back side first and then turn it over. So what I'm going to show you now is how to darken your letters. I've got my paint. I just use like the dabber. If you don't have a dabber, you can use like just an actual sponge and acrylic paint. But just rub it on the front of your blank here. And this is especially helpful when you're using something like aluminum that doesn't oxidize. Pewter does oxidize over time, so you may be able to use like a liver of sulfur or something, but I just find this so convenient. Wipe off the excess. I've just got a paper towel here. And it stays in those impressions that you made. Now, that's going to still be a little bit dirty, so you want to take your polishing pad, just rub that over the surface, just to shine it back up. So then you've got something that's nice and shiny here. If it turns out, I've got a few of my letters here are not quite as dark as I'd like them, so I'm going to go back and darken those again. And you can do this as many times as you need to until you get the look that you like. Now I'm going to want to do the back side, and I'm going to also want to do my emergency contact here. Stamping is quite easy. It seems intimidating because it's tools, and it's tools that you may not be familiar with. But once you get started, you'll probably get addicted. That's exactly what happened to me. It was something that I got in my head that I wanted to try. And once I did, I just could not stop stamping. So I've got my emergency contact, and I've got my main blank here. I'm just using a large size jump ring. This is, oh gosh, probably 15 millimeters. Just big enough to fit through both of those. Grab my pliers here, close her up. And then just string it on a chain. And this is something that my daughter can now wear while we're out and about. It's something that makes me feel a little bit safer, and hopefully makes her feel, you know, special and pretty and important, because she's got this special necklace that's got her name on it. Hey, I'm Adrienne, and let's do some fast crafts. Be sure to subscribe and check me out at happyhourprojects.com.